Well, anyway, on moving on, sort of as a Celtic fan, it's not exactly been, apart from this past year, it's not been a bad decade to be supporting
Shit,
that
mate.
club.
This year? Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, it's true. I mean, we're going to get onto that because the past is the past. We want to talk about the present, and of course, with this being the Scouted Football Podcast, the future as well. But what, just as a very brief post mortem, what went wrong this season? Was this always bound to happen?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like Captain Hindsight here, but I wasn't quite as confident as other Celtic fans coming into the season. And that stemmed from just our performances against Rangers at the turn of the year, particularly the League Cup final when we were decimated. But Fraser Forster sort of had the game of his life, made 7 or 8 saves in a game. Jeremy Frimpong got sent off as well. We won 1-0. I think Christopher Julian's goal was offside as well. So massive sort of, we're very fortuitous there. But it was performances in the games that mattered that worried me. I remember Callum McGregor playing left wing back in a Champions League qualifier as our best central midfielder. Just key decisions like that costing us in big games. Because his win percentage, Neil Lennon, it was fairly ruthless otherwise. But yeah, we were slipping in games where we weren't necessarily the overwhelming favourite. And that was becoming habitual. And yeah, I just worried that he was a manager that was kind of stuck in the era of when we first employed him, and he didn't necessarily come with any fresh ideas, didn't raise the bar like Brendan Rodgers in that sense. There wasn't that same professionalism, there wasn't that same perfectionism, and yeah, that same he couldn't plug the gap like Rodgers did. That talent gap maybe with innovation. And I like him, and he's a legend, and he's mainly well spoken. He used to have a really good eye for talent as well. That first side he put together with Izagirre, Kiao, he put that together on the cheap, and it was a really competent side. And he got to the last 16 in the Champions League, So yeah, I think his kind of approach just aged out, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. I hope it's Eddie Howe, but we're taking our sweet time over announcing anything new. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a case of sort of moving with the times. That was the idea that I think a lot of people from who may not have sort of a very forensic look on Scottish football, that was the view that a lot of people took, was that of course Neil Lennon's had obviously these glory days, but of course football is a cyclical business, and you do have to evolve, and there does need to be some element of evolution, even at the biggest clubs like Celtic. And you're going to hate me for this, but there was a stat that I pulled out, and it is on the crib sheet, but it was that no team conceded more goals in the 2020-21 Europa League group stage than Celtic, along with Dundalk and Ludogorets with 19. And I think that is kind of one of, obviously goals conceded is of course going to be an indicator of whether you're doing badly or whether you're doing well. But I think the teams that were sort of alongside Celtic there. Obviously the group wasn't easy with Lille and AC Milan, but it's one of those where you think something's wrong here. Structurally, something's up.
Yeah, structurally is a good word for it as well. We were kind of just hitting the transition an awful lot. We were sort of like okay with the ball, good at getting our talented players on the ball, and then when we were countered, looked like rank amateurs at times. The weird thing is, we beat Lille 3-2. We're probably going to win Ligue 1 this season. Yeah. We had 50 minute spell against AC Milan where we were comfortably the better side. I want to say in both legs, actually. But just weren't very decisive in front of goal, or just actually in that second leg, kind of our fitness just caught up with us, which is never great. That's a very basic thing, obviously. Yeah, it wasn't easy watching, and it was the 2 legs against, oh my God, who was it? The Czech team? Sparta, I want to,
I think it was Sparta, yeah, I think it was Sparta Prague, yeah.
I don't, because there's obviously 2 teams in Prague, I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, they were very damning, and their game plan sort of very clear, just set up to counter us, and it was alarming how easy it was. And the fact that we couldn't really change things up from the first 4-1 defeat to the second was kind of emblematic of a manager who would kind of ran out of ideas, or I think that level was kind of escaping him somewhat. But yeah, poor, because I think the squad is much better than the results, although everyone's contract sort of not coming to an end, but they're approaching the end of their contract. I think a lot of key players in their final years
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously, which is not great because now we do have to start quite a seismic rebuild, despite the fact some of those might be at the club next year, I guess. But I think the plan is to sell the majority of them, or at least that's what the players want, judging by their performances.